Besides knowing which model to choose, there are more things you should be aware of when working with such APIs, especially when comparing it to the normal ChatGPT website. ChatGPT is all about processing information. As ChatGPT Plus, using the ChatGPT APIs is not for free. To measure the amount of information that is processed and to indicate the amount of information ChatGPT can keep as context within a chat, we can find the pricing based on so-called tokens. This is the official pricing page. Link is attached to this lecture. And before we have a close look at the pricing at the point in time when we recorded the course, we'll have a quick look at tokens first. A token is the equivalent to roundabout 0.75 words or 4 characters. This refers to prompts, so your messages you send to ChatGPT and the responses you get. So any kind of communication is measured and tracked as tokens. If you want to have a rough idea about how such tokens are calculated, you can find the so-called tokenizer on the official OpenAI website. In here, you can now enter some text. So, hello, how many tokens are these? And you see that we have 32 characters and 7 tokens in this case. Now, the way tokens are calculated differ depending on the underlying model you're using. So depending on the underlying API, but this website is not too bad for a rough estimate to get a first idea about the way tokens are calculated. Now, if we look at the models that we selected as the, most useful ones when getting started with the API, we see different amounts of tokens these models can process, so to say. We have around about 8,000 for GPT-4, around about 32,000 for GPT-4 32K, and we have around about 4,000 for the 3.5 Turbo API model. Now, these tokens are not something like a limit for messages or output or anything like that. These token limits simply define the context limit for prompts and answers. So if you build a website with an ongoing chat, after 8,000 tokens for the GPT-4 model, ChatGPT or the API will lose the context for any topics discussed beyond this limit. So if the conversation started at 0 and now you have 10,000 tokens, the first 2,000 tokens will not be in memory anymore of the GPT model. This limit includes prompts and answers, so ChatGPT will forget, so to say, both earlier prompts and earlier outputs. So this is why you should understand the basics behind tokens. Another important aspect is the one I mentioned at the beginning of this lecture. The pricing of using the APIs is also based on tokens. The pricing page is attached to this lecture, and it will probably change when you are watching this. But as said, when we recorded the course, this is the pricing for the different models used. For the default GPT-4 model, so to say, we have 3 cents for 1,000 tokens for the prompt and 6 cents for the completion. So this is the prompt and this is the output, so to say. For the 32K context, pricing is significantly higher, and for the 3.5 Turbo model, the pricing is significantly lower. With that token logic in mind and with this page in mind, you can get a rough estimate about how much you have to pay to use the ChatGPT API endpoints. So we are now ready to build our first very basic application to see the API in practice.